You never know. Announcements. The link is up, I think, on the website, and you can sign up for the June sit. It's June, and Jukai. And so the sitting will be from, I think, about 9 through lunch, and then we'll do some setup, and the ceremony will be at 2. So.
Would just be a great, particularly for this ADS all-day sit, if you could sign up, register sooner rather than later, that would be great, so we know you're coming. And if you are an ordainee, if we could know how many guests you have sooner rather than later, that would be helpful too. And actually, may not be a place on the registration form for guests.
Just reach out to the 4 people and.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What is the date?
June 29th.
29th. So at the end of the month.
Do we want people to bring things for tea afterward? Are we doing?
Yeah, we would love things for, Marilyn is gonna be heading up the reception, and she would be thrilled if people would bring some snacks, savories and sweets. And we're just gonna trust that it's all gonna work out, so we're not, we don't need to know what you're bringing, but, yes,
It will all more than work out.
it will really work out.
And another question, will there be a list of the ordainees?
Yeah, it's on the web,
It's on the web.
it's on the, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
There's 4.
Constance?
I just wanted to remind people that the Doan Rio training is this Saturday, Yalupa at 10, or 11 o'clock, 11 to 1.
Cool. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we are, and Susan Tholug's here, and Marilyn, and Alicia, and maybe Sasha. So, hi everybody. We are beginning looking at the book we're going to use as our source book is called Zen Echos, Classic Koans with Verse Commentaries by 3 female Zen masters. Razala Bayan recommended it to me, and let me just we have done koans in the past. I figure if we call ourselves a Zen Sangha, we should have some familiarity with koans and the traditional commentaries. And then this is like an added bonus is that there are 3 female Zen Chan teachers, Zen teachers, and we have their commentaries, and I'm going to talk a little bit about who they are today. But I thought that I would begin with, because I refer to these things, literature refers to it, we've talked about them, some of them, but the world-honored one ascends the seat. Manjushri asks Vimalakirti about non-duality. Bai Zhang's fox. Nanxuan kills the cat. That was the one I left Zen about. It's like I wasn't going to be part of any tradition that killed cats. But I came back. I'm not opinionated. Layman Pang's awakening. Zhao Zhou checks out the old woman. Zhao Zhou, go and wash your bowl. Every day is a good day, just to name a few. There's 43 cases in here. We won't get to all of them, but we'll touch on a few of them. And I want to call forward some of the traditional commentaries because some of them are really beautiful, and I also am really looking forward to hearing from these 3 women. So turning in that direction this week as an introduction, I'm going to start with a little bit of the foreword from Sue Moon, who's a Dharma sister and a good friend, and we've taught together over time, and I just love her voice. So I've edited a little bit, but here's some of Sue's words. Zen Echos, this book, is a conversation between 4 wise Buddhist women, Mai Zhang, Bao Qi, Zukai and their translator Beata Grant. They meet each other right here across vast distance of time and space, and you get to meet them too and hear their interweaving voices. That's what's cool about this, is I love it when you start hearing the echo of these teachings across time and space, and how one person inspires another person and they start writing a commentary in response to, like, it goes in so deeply that it's like they're talking to the person next to them and they're writing a poem or a commentary. So you start to hear the echo, and then we start echoing into it with our own voices and our own commentaries, and you realize this is a conversation that is been going on across time and space and is beyond time and space, and it lands right here. And what is it? So this is the first English translation of a remarkable book. In the 12th century, the female Chan master Mai Zhang wrote commentaries in verse for a number of classic Chan or Zen koans. And 5 centuries later, two more female teachers, masters, Baoqi and Zuki, who were friends, added another layer because they collaborated and wrote things together. It's going to be fun too, because some of our Sangha mates here are going to lead us in a couple of these, and you'll get to hear their voices echoing. So I'm looking forward to this. And then she talks about the translator. So the translator's name is Beata Grant. Translate means to carry across. Translating ancient Chinese into modern English. So this is if the book, which it's amazing that I could post it on the website and in the newsletter. You'll see the Chinese is here.
Mm.
This tradition is rooted in China. So one would hope that whatever is happening politically between these two worlds now, that maybe we can help cultivate a deeper understanding there too. She points out that Chinese characters contain many possibilities and sometimes simultaneous meanings and puns. So the translator had to really enter and turn this for us. Then Sue goes on to remind us that koans are famously difficult to understand in our ordinary way of thinking. It's not just you. And the verse commentaries hardly straighten things out for us. That's what's fun. As you get in, you go, huh? And then you read a commentary by someone in some century, and it sort of illuminates a little bit of it, but it just turns it in a whole other way. And then somebody else says something different. And it's like turning and being turned over and over again. And you have a glimpse of insight, and then it disappears, which is actually the way life is if you really pay attention. It's like, oh, maybe I got that for a minute. And then maybe a bird chirps or somebody says something to you and it opens it and you get it, but then it closes it and you can't even remember what you actually got, but you do feel a little wiser. And anyway, I think this isn't just me. Chan or Zen is non-linear, and the point is to stretch and open wide the mind, taking us beyond habitual thinking. They can be read like dreams or poetry. And Sue says these commentaries are like poetry. They're in verse, and the title is, here's the title of the collection. The Concordant Sounds Collection of Verse Commentaries. The Concordant Sounds Collection of Verse Commentaries. Sounds. Stay with sounds. And then she says, One of the things I appreciate about these verses is the open expression of emotion they sometimes contain. Now, this is not something that you ordinarily find in Zen commentaries beyond a whack or a shout and then she says, I can't help wondering if this has anything to do with the fact that they are by women. But fundamentally, they are about the impossibility of expressing the ultimate truth in words. Here's a little history about Mahjong. I'll confess that I didn't quite know when we entered this. We've done in the past, I spent a little time with the hidden lamp. And I have a commentary in here written. I read it today for the first time in a long time, and I thought, ooh, what an interesting person wrote that. I wonder who wrote that. I thought, I wonder what I'd write now. I'm going to read you a little bit of it. But the commentary, the koan that was assigned to me was Mahjong. So it's nice that I already have a little bit of familiarity with her. Mahjong, 1095 to 1170. Is famous for being one of the first officially recognized female Chan or Zen masters in Chinese history. She had to be a pretty strong, clear person, I would imagine. And then 500 years after her death, two Dharma companions, Baochi and Shuki, were so inspired by her verses that they started commenting and communicating and writing each other and studying her together. They were compiled by, I thought it was interesting, a layperson, a layman, Zhang Duan, who knew and admired Baochi and Zuki and wrote a preface for the book, and it was then printed, but then it was tucked away and it had never been translated into English until this book came out. So we're kind of on the front lines. This book is a fairly recent book in the last few years. 2017. A little bit more history. Koans, you may know them. They can be a little strange with these guys hitting each other and shouting at each other and saying things that don't make any sense. And she says these are undoubtedly romanticized images and stories. I think, I'll bet if we took some stories of things that we've seen, if you're a Zen practitioner in our lifetime, and you kind of pulled it out of context and you talked about these two wise people who we now know as just, Nancy and Fred, but then somebody puts them in robes and puts it in a collection and says, this is a story. I think these moments, I think we witness these kind of moments. It's just they get kind of reified. And there's something in them, the stories, that penetrate all the way through. This is from Song Dynasty, China, 960 to 1270. They were developed primarily for the purpose of training monastics, but lay people also apparently liked to study them, educated lay people. Koan means, in Japanese, public case, like a legal public case. And I said last week, I'll say again, I think it's sort of interesting because there's these formal koans that are passed down to us. But John Tarrant's lineage, Joan Sutherland, also really encourage us to take up koans as the koans of our lives. What's the koan of your life? What big question is turning you right now? And it does seem to me that we are in a collective big koan right now of what in the world is happening in the world, and how are we going to use it to awaken and find our way to more whole and connected view and way of living. So I'm hoping that these koans don't remain something in the past, but actually touch our own hearts and lives deeply, and hopefully give us insights and openings into how we might meet the current time that we live in. So the koans are collected into, I was going to bring them today, I won't, but I'll bring them from time to time because I want to do the more traditional commentaries. Collections called The Transmission of the Lamp, the Blue Cliff Records, the Book of Serenity, and the Gateless Gate. They're substantial in it, and in some of the koans are in each of them. Some of them are just particularly, like the Book of Serenity is the book most closely aligned with Soto Zen. I think the Blue Cliff Records is most closely identified with Rinzai Zen, and the Gateless Gate, anyway, I'm a little off my, they each have a different flavor. I'm going to offer this just because it feels, I kind of enjoy this feeling of getting to know Mahjong and the time that she lived in as a young Chinese, well, as a mature woman practitioner. She studied under a Song Dynasty Chan master, I'm probably saying these really wrong, Dao Hu Songgao, and he, not all, one might imagine, Chinese male, because the lineage was mostly male-oriented, encouraged women practitioners. He was one who did, and included at least 14 nuns and 27 lay women. So he was open to seeing beyond sex and gender. She came from a very illustrious and scholarly family. Probably most people weren't able to do what she did if they didn't come from an educated class. And then the introduction says, while we know very little about Mao Zedong's early life, we can assume that like other women of her time who were born to distinguished gentry families, and unlike most of their less privileged sisters, she was afforded a solid education, which included studying the classic works of Chinese literature, philosophy, and history, and learning to write poetry. And then they say, even as an adolescent, she began to ponder such existential questions such as where and what we are before we take birth, and where and what we will be after we die. I read that and I thought, isn't that what all teenagers think about? No, I'm sorry. There's a period of time in there. I think a lot of teenagers. But anyway, she was very serious about it. And she had her first enlightening experience because she was so diligent in this. And then it's described that even though this happened, which must have validated her life as a spiritual practitioner and someone on a quest, during that time, if you were a woman in China, you were married. Your family picked someone and you married them, which she did. She dutifully acquiesced to her family's arrangements for her to be married. But even after she got married, she did not give up, and she kept visiting different Chan monks in search of spiritual guidance. Here's a story about her. One of the monks, the teachers, opened a dialogue with her and said, how can a beautiful woman from the inner quarters expect to engage in the matters of great gentlemen? Excuse me, what are you doing here? Only men can do this. And in fact, I kind of edited this out, but I'll put it back in because if you, apparently you were a woman who had strong insight as a spiritual practitioner, you were said to be like a manly man. So you get some sense of what the environment was in which they were practicing. Anyway, how can a beautiful woman from the inner quarters expect to engage in the matters of great gentlemen? You want to know what she said?
Yeah.
Her reply was straightforward, and she said, is the Buddha Dharma divided into male and female forms? Is the Buddha Dharma divided into male and female forms? And then they embarked in a Dharma exchange in which we're told she emerged victorious. Here's another story. I'll tell you 3 stories. The story is about a ferryman. Yan Tao worked for a while as a ferryman, transporting people back and forth across a lake. One day, a woman passenger was carrying a baby in her arms and turned to Yan Tao and asked, "Where did this baby that I am holding in my arms come from? Where is this baby that I'm holding in my arms come from?" Yan Tao replied in good Chan master fashion by smacking her with his oar. This is why I left Zen. They're cutting cats in half and hitting each other with oars. It's like, where's the compassion? But once you get into this is a sort of a dialectic and a way of communicating and cutting through, because you'll see what happened in a minute. So he did the traditional thing. He did what was expected. She asked this question, which she must have been challenging him to respond in some way beyond a linear mind. He whacked her. And unfazed, she said, "I have already given birth to 7 children, 6 of whom never encountered a true friend. Nor will it be any different with this one." And so saying, she threw the child into the water.
Whoa.
Get your attention? Huh. What in the world was she doing? These are stories. The deeper meaning of this rather horrifying tale most likely hinges on the word true friend, which literally means someone who understands the sound. It's like you did not understand the sound or the meaning of my question. You acted like you knew something because you did what was expected of a Zen master. You whacked me, but you missed the whole thing. There are wonderful stories like this in Zen literature where often it's often an old tea lady or somebody sitting at the crossroads who just like isn't going to play the game of what's expected and gives a different kind of response. The expression refers to a famous story of a man who could always and immediately understand the feeling behind his friend's zither playing, behind his friends playing an instrument. So much so that when he died, his musician friend, despairing of ever again being understood in this way, broke the strings of his instrument and never played again. There's a really deep kind of soul quality right in the midst of this, which doesn't make so much sense with all the whacking. So in Mai Zhang's verse, true friend is someone on the same spiritual wavelength, a mind-to-mind, heart-to-heart connection, which is what we're all looking for, which is how we wake up together, is in relationship. which is what the world is asking of us, is how do we listen deeply? How do we be here deeply? Are you really seeing me? Are you really hearing the deeper stream of what's happening in this call and response world? So this is what Mahjong wrote. A leaf of a boat drifts across the vast stretch of water. A leaf of a boat drifts across the vast stretch of water. Lifting and dancing his oars, he sings to a different tune. Mountain clouds and ocean moon, both are tossed away. The battle won, Zhao Zhou's butterfly dream carries on. So instead of tossing the baby into the water, as she plays on the image of the boat and the oar and the ferryman, but what's tossed in the water is not a baby, but clouds over the moon, over the mountain, clouds over the mountain and moon over the sea. Everything being tossed into a vast ocean, and a story of Zhao Zhou, when waking from a dream in which he was a butterfly, wonders if he is now the butterfly dreaming he is human. So instead of getting caught in the story, in what was expected, there's this song line, sound line of the ephemeral that's always happening right in the midst of everything. And that's the sound of the verses of trying to turn our minds to both be here and to understand that we are, Dogen calls it, we're living a dream within a dream. What's really true here? What's really happening? What's the song that the universe is singing through each one of us and through everything in each moment? Now I'm going to read you the one from the Hidden Lamp. It's a little less dreamy. Mao Zedong's Dharma interview, 12th century. Before Mao Zedong became a nun, she used to visit Master Daohu Zhang's monastery to study with him, and he gave her a room in the abbot's quarter. The senior monk, Wanan, did not approve. Daohu said to him, although she's a woman, she has outstanding merits. So there was judgment that he was a male teacher. He was allowing a woman to come into the monastery and to study, and he affirmed that she was a person of great merit. Wanan still disapproved, so Daohu urged him to have an interview with Mao Zedong. Wanan reluctantly agreed and requested an interview. And Mao Zedong said to him, do you want a Dharma interview or a worldly interview? If he was smart, he'd know he was probably being set up here, but he didn't know. He said, a Dharma interview. And Mao Zedong said, then send your attendants away. And she went into the room first, and after a few moments, she called, please come in. When Wanang entered, he saw Mao Zedong lying naked on her back in the bed. And he pointed at her genitals and said, what is this place? Mao Zedong replied, all the Buddhas of the three worlds, the 6 patriarchs, and all great monks everywhere came out of this place. And you know what Wanang said? He said, may I enter? See, Now we're getting into koan collections here. It's like, wow, okay. And she said, horses may cross, asses may not. Wanong was unable to reply. Mao Zedong declared, I have met you, senior monk. The interval is over, and she turned his back to him. Wanong left ashamed. Later, Dahu said to him, the old dragon has some wisdom, doesn't she? Okay, here's a little bit of Hoka Chris Fortin's reflection. Want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm only going to read parts of it. So I begin by saying, in the old, at Everyday Zen, we used to do women's retreats, and Su Moon used to write these amazing skits for all of us. And we would enact them, and I got to be Mao Zedong, and I got a skin-colored leotard and acted this out. It was one of the high points of my life. Don't you wish we did things like this still? We still could. I wore a flesh-colored full-body stocking, and I was deeply moved and even jolted by the experience of entering into Mai Zhang's skin and enacting her fearless and compassionate activity. Mao Zedong's unbounded confidence in the pure Dharma body of practice and her embodied faith in the sacredness of a woman's body resonated through me like a dragon's roar. Zazen is the practice of intimately entering into the naked vulnerability of being human. Alone on our cushion, we become one with our particular life and the comings and goings of breath, thoughts, feelings, and sensations. Offering ourselves with wholesome devotion, wholehearted devotion, we connect with the spacious nature of who we really are. What arises is a deep trust that is rooted in the human body. There's so much body in this. I mean, even body parts. I mean, she's talking about vaginas, for goodness sakes. Enabling us to respond with a freedom to what is before us. Although in the ultimate there is no separate self, no male or female, we become true human beings through embodied relationship. The heart awakens to compassion when we are able to open ourselves to one another. We embrace the truth of our interconnection through the poignant beauty and vulnerability of revealed and intimately meeting with each other. All beings are our teachers. The whole world is singing the Dharma. And I love the line, that old dragon has some wisdom, doesn't she? She must have really been something. Strong. Think how strong you had to be able to hold. Here's they provide this to provide a sense of the religious authority with which she taught. When it comes to the path of transcendence, sages do not transmit anything, and students do nothing but toil over forms like monkeys grasping at their own reflections. She was not going to suffer fools. What Shakyamuni Buddha transmitted at Vulture Peak came at an opportune time. He elaborated upon the three vehicles, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, each according to the faculties and capacities of his listeners. Shakyamuni Buddha taught what each person could receive. Beginning at the Deer Park with his teaching of the Four Noble Truths, he ferried hundreds of thousands of beings across the river of samsara. Today, I, the mountain monastic, together with this world and all other worlds, with the Buddhas and patriarchs, with the mountains, rivers, and great earth and grasses and trees, woods and forests, appear before the fourfold assembly, each of us turning the great wheel of Dharma, each of you turning the great wheel of Dharma. Everyone's radiance. Everyone's radiance. Everyone's radiance blend and crisscross like a jeweled silken net. There's the jewel net of Indra. She's describing it. And she's telling you what she sees and experiences being here with all of you. If there be a single blade of grass, a single tree that does not turn the wheel of Dharma, then one cannot call my sermon today a true turning of the wheel of Dharma. If there be a single blade of grass, a single tree that does not turn the wheel of Dharma, if you didn't get it, then she feels like she didn't really give you a true Dharma teaching today. So I wouldn't be so bold as to say that. But what does this old dragon know? What's the old dragon in you know? Who is this old dragon? And what is she trying to teach us? Why don't you turn to somebody? Trust your own dragonness.